Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling. Let's show you see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today, where we'll be relaxing as per usual. I don't know what we're going to be talking about. Well, what specifically we'll be talking about, but if you didn't realise that today is I'm back from holiday, so I'm scooching about a bit. I'll probably just sit in my place and then speak. But yeah, I'm back from holiday, if you didn't know. But over the past 5-ish or so days, I was on holiday in Paris, with a few friends, and honestly, it was a grand old time. But anyway, good evening everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 10:51 PM on Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024. So I guess I'll go around, we'll clean up our island, more so than specifically talking about a particular part of the holiday. I'm trying to think what part. I mean, we could talk about which part? Eurostar, maybe? That's a very interesting part. But yeah, obviously being from... Whoa. Oh. I thought I was a tarantula. It's just a weed. Being from UK, meaning that we have access to a great old tunnel built back in, I don't know. When was there? No. English Channel Tunnel built. 1994. That's actually way more recent than I thought it was going to be. I don't know what I expected though. But means that we have access to something called Eurostar, which if you don't know is basically a train running directly from one of the largest train stations in London, St Pancras International, I suppose, and going directly to Paris. Oh, you are Maggie? Maddie, close enough. I think Maggie might be the pig now I think about it. You are someone else I don't think I've ever seen on Happy in Paradise. A rarity of like a villager. I've just been like, I don't think I've actually seen you in this game yet. But no, I mean, like, obviously over the course of the next few days I'm going to be talking about bits and different bits and pieces of the holiday, but on general, it honestly was a very nice time. I think Paris is a cool place. Like, I love the aesthetic of, you know, walking down some Parisian streets with just like these very sort of glitzy, not glitzy's the wrong word, that makes you think like Las Vegas, but very sort of like glamorous stylings. Things like you walk down, there's like Ovis designer brands, like walking down Champs-Elysees at night time, and it's very like, you know, nice glass of wine, someone sitting on side the Eiffel Tower glistening in the background. And the other parts is just like, you know, Paris is both a very overhyped city and a very underhyped city, I think. When in actuality it's like, it's a pretty nice city. It's got some good areas, it's got some bad areas. That's like with like every major metropolitan area, to be honest. At least that's my opinion of it. I didn't really think it was all too different from London, to be perfectly honest. Not necessarily in a bad way, but it's just sort of like, you know, some places give you London vibes. Just no, like how do I put it? Like London, you know, it's more like a big city sort of structure, but it's got like a different vibe to it, different theme and aesthetic. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. That's about it. Would I recommend going to Paris? Yeah, absolutely. Just don't over romanticize it. It's not absolutely gorgeous everywhere you go. It's still, at the end of the day, just a major metropolitan area. Some places are kind of dirty, some places are a bit like but a lot of places are also very pretty at the same time. And don't undersell it as well. It's not like the worst place in existence or something. Like it's honestly crazy if, in my opinion, if you maybe not crazy, but I think it's a bit of a gross exaggeration if you're just like, this is an absolutely horrible place to be. No, it's not. It's definitively like nice compared to a lot of other places. But it doesn't mean it's not a major metropolitan area. It doesn't mean it doesn't have the same sort of highlights and pratfalls which a big city has as well. But anyway, the thing I was going to talk about was the fact that we went on by Eurostar. So if you don't know that, it's basically a train line, and as we looked up, built in 1994, connecting London and Paris, and it's something which is basically the Eurostar tunnel. is something which helped connect the two cities, which means that if you want to go from one to the other, you can do it in like 2 hours. It's actually crazy. It's like way faster than I expected it to be, which is weird because obviously I expected it to be much faster than flying, but it's also just like, you know, it's just like sort of over in a flash. To be perfectly honest, and it's very convenient as well. Like, it's much faster to get through the security and things here than it is in an airport, I suppose, because it's quite specialised. And oh yeah, everyone here is going UK to France. You don't have to do like security checks of like liquids, etc., etc. There's less preparation, I suppose, needed for the train or on the plane. Obviously, you do need like, well, actually, I don't know if Eurostar's electric or whatever, but with a plane, if you run out of fuel mid-flight, it would be simply catastrophic. If you run out of power, I suppose in Eurostar it will be pretty bad, but like, I suppose it's not immediately catastrophic. But yeah, I don't know what to say. You go on, you go through the security about the place. It's not particularly crazy or anything like that. One very nice major benefit is the fact that you are allowed reasonable like liquid levels. Like, you can bring in a water bottle completely fine. You don't have to pack all your liquids into this like tiny case, and they all had to be like certain size bottles, etc., etc. You just bring it and it's done. The features it has for security are, to be fair, rather minimalist compared to an airport. Like things like the bag scanning or whatever, there's only like a few lines. Oh man, I really got to figure out something with this section, so the weeds growing here aren't always such a inconvenience, sorry. Excuse me. To deal with. Maybe if I move this slightly backwards. But yeah, like, I think I went on Eurostar like once when I was much younger. Like, I've been to Paris before when I was like 3 or something. I have vague recollections on bits and pieces, but not really all that much. So it's nice to go again as an adult and, you know, come at it with a sort of fresh set of eyes and experiences and different things to appreciate, which you can't really, I suppose, when you're a young toddler like that. Oh my gosh, so many weeds over here. But Eurostar Town was very convenient. I mean, there's also like a canteen car as well, which I did not go to. Obviously very expensively priced, but like, it kind of is meant to be, I suppose, supply and demand and all that. But really, it's just like a very convenient thing. Like, it's, maybe it sounds strange to hear, I suppose, if you're not from the UK or whatever, but, you know, very often people would just be like, oh, just, you know, I had a weekend in Paris or whatever, which might sound crazy, I suppose. It's like a whole weekend holiday in a completely different country, but with how convenient it is, like 2 hours is like, that's, honestly, it's faster than it would take to like go to Scotland a lot of the time. And Scotland is very much like part of a collective of UK, right? So really, it's just like, yeah, it's not all that inconvenient. Like, you just got to take the time, I suppose, to actually get into central-ish London itself, and from there, you know, you just take a couple-hour train, and then boom, you're in a whole other country with, you know, a different enough culture to feel the difference. Certainly, if you like wine, if you like food, if you like fashion, Paris is a fantastic centre point for all of that. And I'm sure we'll get onto all these different bits and pieces about it, which I love, sooner or later. But, you know, shout out to Eurostar and all that. Like, I remember watching a documentary when I was much younger about them building the Eurotunnel and how precise it would have to have been, because it wasn't like they didn't have like the proper technology to like locate where they would have been exactly, and had the tunnel been off by some proportion, it would have just made it completely infeasible to use it or whatever. Like, I know it's a bit of a dark story, but like, they tried to do a similar thing. I can't remember where else. I remember a person was off by some amount of meters, like the lead engineer, and through no fault of his own or something, wasn't it? Like, there was like an incorrect calibration on one of the machines or something, and then he ended his own life because just how big a project it was, which like failed or something, and it's insane to like hear about that. I don't know what it's actually called. Channel tunnel. That makes more sense, because I was like, there's no way they called it English tunnel, because it doesn't make sense. It's like, this is between both countries, although to be fair, it is called English Channel. Maybe in France it's known as something else actually. It's called as La Manche. The channel. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, I remember watching a documentary about it, about them trying to like meet in the middle, and it was just like not even miraculous, but it was like amazing how they were only like the tiniest bit off or something. And the other thing which amazed me is like how many people it could just like carry. Like as we were all like loading into the train as we were coming back from Parasite, I was just like, looking at all the people like walking on the platform station, and I was just like, it's a like complete wonder, I suppose, of modern engineering that this many people can get onto this tunnel and just be in a different country in 2 hours. Isn't that crazy? Maybe that's not crazy. Like, let's see, 2022, 8 million euro sales. Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's not much different from, I suppose, when a longer train, to be honest. I know there's a thing where you can drive along the tunnel as well, which I don't really know how long that drive is, mind you. But it's like, I don't know, like the tickets didn't even feel like they were all that crazy expensive either, so sort of feels like a why not at that point. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. It's just, I don't know, like, it's one of those things which, at least for me, obviously growing up in the UK, you just kind of know about, like, oh, they dug a tunnel under the English Channel at some point and made it meet in France. But the more you think about it, especially, maybe it's one of the things that excuse me, you gain more perspective as an adult, where it's just like, it's amazing that they managed to do that in the first place. No? Like, how? I generally have no idea how you'd even manage to plan something like that. Just sort of be like, oh yeah, you know, I don't know, like, you would need incredibly accurate measurements. I don't even know what they had back in 1994, 30 years ago, to be able to accurately sort of like line them up. Like nowadays, I feel like I would assume it would be significantly easier, but what do I know? Maybe that's not true. Maybe it's, you know, just as hard, and I've got no idea what I'm talking about. But isn't it kind of like miraculous? Just being like, how did they line it up so perfectly? Like off by a few meters. Like whoever, I suppose, was the head engineer, like leading that entire thing, must have just had like even me, I would have been stressing out, I suppose, the entire time your project was going on, be like, what if it misses? What if it just like doesn't align or something like that? So I'm playing Neopets in the background. And then finally, like the day where they actually break through, because I remember that from the documentary, it was actually a really cool looking sort of shot, because I think it recorded it, like the person actually going through. And with them doing it, you know, they see a person going through. What is going on with this Neopets thing? I don't understand what this is. Jelly Neo has a new... Wait. Oh, they want... Oh, okay, I see. They want an item. Mountain forage tea? Is this a thing? So I don't understand what I'm doing right now. What? Tea time with Tabby Guide. I don't understand what I'm doing. 4 hours to return the item. There's no option to cancel. Oh my word. 5 quests a day. You're allowed to use Shop Wizard. Okay. How do I accept this? Yes, I'll help. Blue Apple Chia Pop. This seems like a very expensive item. Oh no, it's cheap as heck. But yeah, it's pretty cool to see, like, think about, like, how would you do it? I have no idea how I genuinely, like, this might sound stupid, like, how do you do something like that? How do you plan it out to such a degree and just have it work? Like, I mean, maybe a portion of it is luck, but I mean, that's kind of like why the people who did it are like, have the jobs they do, presumably, because they were good enough to make it work. And digging it itself is like a whole another sort of journey. Obviously, it's not physical. I mean, there is a lot of physical manpower, but they used machines, presumably, to bore through it. And now I think about it more, like, how does maintenance work? Like, what happens when something goes wrong in the middle of a tunnel? How often do they do maintenance on it? Like, what happens if someone goes wrong in the middle? You just have to send someone down into the middle of a tunnel? It's just like, I don't know, or logistics behind it. But as I get older, the more I sort of like, I'm in wonder and awe that it even happens, that it's even possible in the first place, that I can even sit here and be like, oh yeah, I was like a part of this. Yeah. I don't know what else to do with this. I did just zap my labrate pet and they've turned into a lutari, which I cannot pound. Pound as in, like, I can't put them in the random pound, so I don't know what I'm going to do with this. Can you transfer lutaris? Let's see. Neopets, can you transfer lutaris? It's now possible. Okay. Because I'm pretty sure you can't abandon them, they just run away. I know it's got no relevance to what I'm doing, but it's like, that makes it a little bit difficult to rehome this lab pet. I don't know what to do with it. But yeah, it really is a marvel, and you know, actually going on it and first, like, I don't think I appreciated it as much while I was sitting there, like, actually actively riding it. I didn't appreciate the fact I was like, this is like hundreds and hundreds probably of like collective man hours coming together to be like, let's make this possible. And it is genuinely very, very convenient, like, isn't it? Like, I mean, it opens up a complete possibility of people just like, you could genuinely commute to work in Paris if you wanted to. Like, you could do it on a daily basis. I'm not saying you should. Like, a 2.5 hour sort of journey back and forth is tiring. That's 5 hours of your day through transport alone. But you could like, I remember when I was younger, one of my friends, his dad, like, worked in France, so he would, like, on the Monday he would go fly to France, work there, and come back on the Friday or something. I mean, you could do that pretty quickly now, I suppose, just by taking Eurotunnel or the Channel Tunnel. Is that crazy? You could just do that? I don't know, maybe it's not as crazy as I think it is, but I think it's pretty crazy. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to round this episode off here. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope to see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now. And I'm back.